In the neon glow of the city, where night breathes life into the lost and the restless, there lived a man known by many names. Some whispered with desire, others spat out like venom. But most knew him simply as Jace Ryder. He had the look, dark, tousled hair that never needed fixing, eyes the color of storm clouds, and a smirk that promised chaos. He didn't just walk into a room. He owned it. His presence thick in the air like cigarette smoke and cologne. Women didn't fall for him. They dove headfirst, knowing damn well the water was shallow. Jace wasn't born a bad boy. No one is. He'd once been a wide-eyed kid from a dusty suburb, raised by a mother who loved too much and a father who loved too little. He learned early that affection was currency. Given, taken, withheld, and often weaponized. Somewhere between his parents' shouted fights and his own first heartbreak at 17, something in him shifted. He started to see women not as people but puzzles, distractions, temporary highs that dulled the ache of emptiness inside him. By 25, Jace was infamous. Bartenders knew him by name. So did the girls dancing on rooftops at 2 a.m., the ones who swore they didn't care when he ghosted them 3 days later. His addiction wasn't just to women. It was to being wanted, to that flicker of awe in someone's eyes before they realized what he really was. He called it love sometimes. He lied to himself more than he lied to them. There was a rhythm to his chaos. Meet, charm, seduce, fade. Some women chased after him. Others tried to fix him. Some played his game and left first, which bruised his ego worse than he'd admit. But he kept going night after night, a nomad in his own life, always searching for something he couldn't name. He'd tell his friends, "I'm just living, man, taking what I want." But when the drinks stopped flowing and the bed was empty, his smile would fall off like a mask that never quite fit. In moments of clarity, rare and unwelcome, he knew the truth. He didn't love women. He envied them, their softness, their certainty, the way they could feel without shame. He wanted to devour that. He wanted their light to bleed into his dark. Then came Maya. She wasn't like the others, though that's what they all said before he broke them. But Maya. She didn't flinch when he flirted, didn't melt when he smiled. She looked at him like she'd seen his kind before, and wasn't impressed. That intrigued him. He chased her harder than anyone. Not just with words but with effort. Real dates, real conversations. He told her stories he hadn't told anyone. About his dad, about the night his first love cheated, about how he didn't believe in soulmates but wished he did. Maya listened, but she never gave him all of herself. She was careful, and it drove him mad. For the first time he felt like the one under a spell. He didn't realize he was falling until it was too late. One night, after weeks of fragile intimacy, Maya told him, "You don't love me. You love the chase. And the second you catch me, you'll leave. Not because you want to, but because you won't know what to do with someone who stays." He denied it, pleaded even. But deep down she was right. He had no script for loyalty. No framework for what came after conquest. His addiction, the insatiable need to be desired, had made him emotionally bankrupt. Maya walked away, not with anger but with pity. That hurt worse than hatred. In the months that followed, Jace tried to change. Not for her, not really, but because the weight of his hollowness finally became unbearable. He tried therapy, cancelled dates, sat alone in diners just to feel the silence. But healing isn't romantic. It's not made of grand gestures and epiphanies. It's mundane, low, painful. Sometimes he slipped back. A stranger in his bed. A morning of regret. But other days he fought it. Chose solitude. Chose reflection. Jace Ryder was still a bad boy in the stories people told. But he was trying not to be good but to be real. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough for now. 3 years had passed since Maya walked out of Jace Ryder's life. 3 years since the last time he played the charming ghost, haunting hearts and leaving no forwarding address. Since then, he'd traded the chaos for quiet, the clubs for coffee shops, the rush for reflection. But healing is never linear. Jace now lived in a smaller city by the coast, the kind of place where people made eye contact in grocery stores and actually meant, "How are you?" when they asked. He worked at a local tattoo parlor not because it paid well, but because it forced him to stay rooted. Art had always steadied him more than people ever could. He kept to himself mostly, went on long walks, read books without underlining the flirty quotes. He had a therapist he saw every other Thursday, a gym membership he actually used. His phone was quieter now, fewer messages, no late night "you up?" texts, and when they came he didn't answer. He missed the thrill sometimes, the high of being wanted. But he had learned the hard way. Addiction doesn't care how good it feels. It only cares how much it takes from you before you're unrecognizable. Still, the past lingered. It always does. One afternoon, a familiar name popped up in his inbox. Maya. "Hey, I'll be in town next week. Want to grab coffee?" He stared at the screen for a long time, heart stuttering in a way it hadn't in years. He didn't reply right away. He knew better now. Knew that old flames could warm you or burn you alive. But this wasn't about reigniting anything. It was about closure. Or maybe, the possibility of seeing each other not as what they once were, but who they'd become. He typed erased, then typed again. "Sure. Let me know when." They met at a quiet cafe near the harbor. She looked different, not older, just settled. Softer in the eyes, stronger in the posture. Jace wasn't sure what she saw when she looked at him, but she smiled. Not the smile of a lover. Not the smirk of someone who knows your sins. It was something gentler. Forgiveness, maybe. They talk. No accusations. No flirtation. Just two people with shared history and separate futures. She told him about her life. New city, a partner who treated her with gentleness, a job that made her feel like she mattered. He told her the truth, finally. That he wasn't proud of who he'd been, but he was proud of who he was trying to become. "You always had a good heart, Jace," she said, stirring her tea. "You just buried it under too many bodies." He laughed, dry and honest. "Yeah, I know. They left it there. No grand finale. No lingering glances. Just a hug at the door, warm, real, and a silent agreement that not all connections are meant to be rekindled. Some are just meant to teach you how to live better the next time." That night, Jace sat on his porch, listening to the ocean breathe in and out. He didn't feel triumphant. He didn't feel fixed. But he felt present. And for a man who once ran from every moment that demanded vulnerability, that was its own kind of victory. He still had the cravings, the echo of his old ways humming in his blood when the nights got long. But now he didn't feed them. He faced them, one quiet moment at a time. It was raining the day Jace turned 35. Not the dramatic kind. No thunder, no cinematic downpour. Just a slow, steady drizzle, soft against the windows, like the sky exhaling. He watched it from the window of his apartment, a black coffee in hand, a book open beside him but untouched. He was alone, but not lonely. He hadn't fallen in love again. Not in the way he used to. Not in that impulsive, ravenous way that left both parties emptier than before. These days, love looked quieter. More about showing up than showing off. There was someone new, yes. A woman named Elise. Teacher. Kind eyes. Honest words. She didn't fall for his old charm because he never used it on her. With her he was just Jace. Tattooed, introspective, a little weathered. He told her the truth from the beginning. "I used to chase women like they were air," he'd said on their third date. "Not because I loved them, but because I couldn't stand being alone with myself." She hadn't flinched. She'd only replied, "Sounds like you stopped running." Maybe he had. He still got restless sometimes. The ghosts of his past came knocking at 2 a.m. Memories of names he forgot and hearts he didn't deserve. But he didn't run from them anymore. He let them in, listened, then let them leave. No more pretending. No more hiding. He had found something better than excitement, peace. Didn't come with fireworks. Came with stability. Soft routines. Honest conversations. Long mornings. A dog named Bowie who followed him everywhere. A garden he didn't know how to take care of but tried anyway. Some nights, he'd lie next to Elise, tracing the lines of her hand with his thumb, and think about the man he used to be. The one who collected women like trophies, terrified of ever being truly seen. He pitied that version of himself, but he didn't hate him anymore. Because without that broken boy, this man would have never emerged. If you asked him now what he believed in, he wouldn't say love. He'd say growth. Because love without growth is fantasy. And he was done with fantasies.